Okay, people, I'm about to blow your mind. As a matter of fact, let me just throw a little bit of a seed of how I'm about to blow your mind. For example, if you take One Piece and Hunter x Hunter out the equation, did you know that My Hero Academia is currently the oldest series running in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine? Yeah. It's real, people. So with this video, I wanted to talk about Shonen Jump magazine, what the pulse is looking like in 2021, how much has changed in the last decade or so from like the early 2010s till now, 2021, and just what the vibe is like, the motto of Shonen Jump at this particular point, because it has definitely changed. You know, the beginnings of, again, let's just say the 2010s, the magazine has changed drastically. The way it moves, the way it runs, it is just vastly different. So I wanted to talk to you guys about each and every series that is currently running in the magazine as of the recording of this video, July 2021, and what it's looking like and where it seems to be going moving forward, because yeah, Shonen Jump magazine is a staple and a pillar of manga and anime in general. So without further ado, let's talk about it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Shonen Jump was a variety of series that were serialized, spanning all the way back to like the 70s or 80s with Kochikame. You had the Gintamas, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. All of them were in there for several years. It was just kind of like, holy cow, you know. It seemed like the motto was to grab a fan base, long last that fan base, stay with that fan base as long as you possibly could until the fan base kind of ran dry, and then ultimately the series would get axed or end on its own terms, and then they'd go on to the next thing. Seems like Shonen Jump in 2021 is vastly different, because like I started out this video telling you guys, My Hero Academia, aside from One Piece and Hunter x Hunter, which obviously Hunter x Hunter's been on break since like 98, aside from those two, and obviously One Piece that was serialized in 97, My Hero Academia is the oldest running series in Shonen Jump. And then after that is Black Clover. Like, god damn, I feel so old right now even saying that shit, because you know, you go back in the days, there was Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Gintama, Hitman Reborn, Medaka Box, Kochikame. It was just like all sorts of newbies, oldies, everything, and it seems like they don't want to run that way in 2021. And it also seems like 2021's Shonen Jump staff, the editorial staff and whatnot, they understand the times have changed. People's attention spans are just not what they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like nowadays, people want instant gratification. They want it now. Obviously, the internet has played a big factor in that, to the effect of it wasn't only until the last few years, I want to say since like what, 2014-ish, that Shonen Jump started to go the digital route, and it wasn't only until like the last 3 years or so that they actually even made a digital version over here in the West, because prior to that, they were banking on their physical releases and whatnot, and even that has shrunken ridiculously from back in the golden era of selling 6 million magazines a year to now they're at like less than 2 million. I want to say the last time I looked, they were like at 1.6 million in a year. To go from 6 million to 1.6, yeah, they had to do something. So that's what ushered in the digital era of Shonen Jump, which I do think that the digital era is going to be beneficial down the road. Once there's really no more physical Jump leaks and all of that stuff will no longer be an issue. But even besides that, let's take a look for starters at all of the series that are currently in Jump as of this video, again, July 2021, to see where it's at. Like I said, for starters, the oldest serialized series now, which is wild to say, One Piece, the oldest manga in Shonen Jump, serialized in 97. It got its anime in 99, and One Piece as it stands right now is at chapter, what, 1019 or something like that. Like, wild to even think. One Piece, 1,000 chapters, oldest manga in Jump. It's basically become like, you know, a massive veteran. Like, I used to, when I first started talking about manga here on YouTube, I used to say like One Piece was next up. I used to say like, yo, this is the new Dragon Ball and shit like that. Now One Piece has kind of taken up that mantle alongside Dragon Ball, and in particular, it's the highest selling manga of all time at this particular point, almost the highest selling comic, only a few million behind Batman. So One Piece is kind of an exception to everything else in this magazine, because it is the only one still standing from the previous era. Think One Piece is, if you even go to One Piece terms, it's kind of like Whitebeard in Luffy's era, is like, yo, he came from that great era and he was like the last one standing from the greatness. And then Hunter x Hunter, I'm going to be long gone while Togashi is still writing this shit, or his a robot, they're gonna program Togashi's brain and something to have him going on hiatuses moving forward, because holy cow, it's crazy that One Piece and Hunter x Hunter are only a year apart, and One Piece is 1,000+ chapters and Hunter x Hunter is like, what, 300 and something chapters, 360 or some shit. Like, wow. And don't get me wrong, in case you don't know, the author of Hunter x Hunter has severe health issues, back issues and all that stuff, so that's why the hiatuses. But a lot of people would argue that the manga should have ended a long time ago. There was a perfect point for it to end. But yeah, Hunter x Hunter is another one that is an exception, and the reason why it stands is because it has a cult following that no matter how many hiatuses will still go out, run out in droves and buy the volumes when it comes out. But then moving forward, you got basically 3 series that back to back each year, 2014, 2015, and 2017. There's a little bit of a break in between. My Hero Academia 2014, Black Clover 2015, and Dr. Stone 2017 are basically the new gen veterans at this point. All of those are the oldest manga in Jump if you exclude One Piece and Hunter x Hunter, and that's mind-blowing to think about because again, I was here when I was like, yo, My Hero's next up, Black Clover's the next one. I was talking about them before they even came out. I was talking about the authors with Sensei no Boge / Barrage and Hungry Joker. Like, I was there, so to see them now being the big dogs, the new big 3 type of manga, it's mind-blowing. And Dr. Stone, I was here for that too. I got a first impression of Dr. Stone on the channel. Oh my god, let me stop talking because I sound like a grandpa right now. And it's wild to think that following that, the next oldest series is the one that is basically almost, you could argue, on top of it all. Jujutsu Kaisen, currently, as of the recording of this video, on hiatus. However, Jujutsu Kaisen is, you know, the creme de la creme at this particular point. It is up there. It is selling millions upon millions each and every volume, and it's only 3 years old. So to think about that Jujutsu Kaisen in 3 years has, because it has basically outsold almost everything in this magazine. It's outdone My Hero, Black Clover, Dr. Stone. I want to say it even surpassed Hunter x Hunter at this point. One Piece is like the only one that is stopping Jujutsu Kaisen from being the #1 highest selling manga in Shonen Jump right now. And again, it's just kind of crazy to think that Jujutsu Kaisen is already teetering on being a veteran, and it just had its first season of its anime. Like, mind-blowing. Following that, a series that was serialized in 2019, Mission Yozakura. I want to say it's about to get its anime. If I'm remembering, it's already been like announced that it's getting an anime or something like that. Either way, that's kind of crazy that Mission Yozakura is right there as well, and that's only 2 years old. And as we're going down the list, because next up there's like, I don't know, half the magazine is all from 2020 alone. It's kind of crazy to think the difference of like majority of the series have just been around a few years, opposed to you go back in the days to, like I said earlier, the early 2010s of Shonen Jump. There was a ton of series that were around for, you know, sometimes decades. So to see that, aside from, again, One Piece and a series that is on break all the time, Hunter x Hunter, these are the veterans now that only been around a few years. Because then moving forward after that are basically all of these series don't have anime except one that is kind of a little bit of a special circumstance. Undead Unluck from 2020, which it's doing okay in sales. There's rumors that an anime is coming, nothing confirmed yet with Undead Unluck. Likewise with Mashle, which it's selling great. The difference between Undead Unluck and Mashle is like Mashle is almost selling 2 to 3 times more than Undead Unluck, and Mashle will probably be up next in terms of success. But Mashle, again, 2020 serialization. Following that, we got Ayakashi Triangle. That's from the same author as To Love Ru. That one will probably get an anime as well because it's doing very, very well. Then you got Magu-chan. You got Me and Roboko, which Me and Roboko, they really pushing that to be the new age Gintama. It's only about a year old now at this point, so we'll see where that goes. Burn the Witch, the exception that I was just mentioning regarding having an anime. It got like a 3-episode anime adaptation, which was initially supposed to be a movie. This was by the same author as Bleach, Tite Kubo, but its serialization is a special case. They do it like in parts and seasons essentially with this one. But Burn the Witch sold pretty well, had a 3-episode anime adaptation, also released as a film, and yeah, it's cool, but it's not like a serialized, you know, weekly or even monthly or even, you know, like we get chapters whenever Kubo wants to give them. One of the last 2 that was serialized in 2020, that's made it anyway to 2021, High School Family Kokosei Kazoku, which I have no idea about that series, to be honest with you. I'm surprised that it's still in the magazine, because if I didn't hear about it, and I rarely hear anybody talking about it, usually that's not a good sign. Not that I'm the know-all, end-all of everything, but I rarely hear, if ever, that series being mentioned. And then the last of the 2020 releases was Sakamoto Days, and Sakamoto Days is awesome. I could see that one, if it stands the test of time, being pretty big, because it's great. A lot of people are liking it already, and it's a really dope assassin manga. Then everything that was released in 2021, which again, majority of the magazine is comprised of 2020 and 2021 releases, just to keep a note. 2021, the first serialization that has lasted is The Elusive Samurai by the same author as Assassination Classroom, and based on the first week's volume sales of the first volume, it's looking like it's doing pretty decent. Nothing close to the explosion that Assassination Classroom was. I remember its first volume selling like 600,000 in the first week. Unheard of shit. Like, it's not doing that, but it's doing decent numbers, and I've heard some good things, so that might stick around. Then you got a series called Witch Watch. I've heard a couple of good things about. You got Blue Box. That one, it seems to be like some sort of romance sports series of if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people are liking that, but it's very early on for Blue Box. And then some of the latest serializations, you got Candy Flurry, very early on. I haven't checked that one out yet, but I've heard a couple of good things. You got the Hunters Guild Red Hood, very early. It's only like 2 or 3 chapters out, and it's great so far, but it's too early to call it. And the latest as of the recording of this video serialization, you got Niru Way of the Martial Artist, and that one, it's okay. I like the art. I don't know where the story is going to go, but yeah, this is Shonen Jump in 2021. It amazes me to see that majority of the magazine, almost half if not more, are 2020 and 2021 serializations, and the magazine has just changed so much. It used to bank on veteran nature, it used to bank on having long-term fan bases that stuck around. Now it seems to be that they've kind of done away with that idea, minus a select literal two of One Piece and Hunter x Hunter, and now they're more so like, bam, let's do it up, let's give all the story we possibly can in the few amount of years, get as much sales we can, and then move on to the next big thing. Like for example with the Jujutsu Kaisen story, they just had the author a few months back talking about how, yeah, it'll probably go another 2 years max, and I believe them. Look what happened with Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer, they could have milked that shit for who knows how long, but they decided to allow the author to end it, and it is one of the highest selling manga of all time. 150 million sales last time I checked. And just in general, it's fascinating to me to see what Shonen Jump has become at this point in this day and age, because for the longest time, I gotta be honest with you, one of the things I used to think, and it used to almost feel like doom and gloom for Shonen Jump, was if One Piece ends at any given point during those years that I was thinking this, I felt like it was going to be a wrap for the magazine. They wouldn't be able to survive because a lot of the magazine for the most part couldn't measure up to One Piece. One Piece would be at like 30 million, everything else would be like 4, 5, 6 million tops. Nowadays, it's definitely changed. While One Piece still is a juggernaut, massive success, legend, makes tons of money and stuff like that, you also have a few others. You got Jujutsu Kaisen bringing in shit tons of money. You got a series that has ended and they still making tons of money with Demon Slayer that ended last year. You got just a lot of different things. My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone, Black Clover. There's just a ton of series that make up for, hey, if One Piece wanted to end tomorrow, it could, and Shonen Jump will be just fine, because Shonen Jump now, the way they move in 2021 is that they're going to be okay because they're investing in stories that have a lot of impact early on and are getting a lot of success very early. But that's not to say that they can completely get comfortable, because if Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't come back, then what's the next biggest thing? It's a lot lower than Jujutsu Kaisen, okay? So, but I'm very curious what you guys think about this. For starters, how do you feel about Shonen Jump in 2021, especially in comparison to some of the glory days of the early 2010s of Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Hitman Reborn, all of those series? Like, do you feel like right now, what Shonen Jump said a few months ago, that we're in the strongest generation of Shonen Jump, do you feel that that's accurate based on everything we listed in this magazine as of right now? Do you feel like there's some series that are going to stand the test of time? Which series you think will be canceled soon? Which series you think are going to last? Which one you think is next up? And just in general, how do you feel about Shonen Jump magazine in 2021? It was really interesting to take a look at this magazine, and it's kind of crazy. Shonen Jump has changed a lot, and I don't know if they're necessarily in the strongest generation, but it's a strong damn generation to be able to have series that are fairly new, rocking the waves and making the sales and moves that they're doing. Shonen Jump, their motto is working at the very least. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm from that world, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and shout outs to Shonen Jump to another decade of crazy awesome manga that we all love to enjoy reading. And yeah, have an awesome one.